Hello and welcome once again to Yorkshire Gamer's monthly Wargames update, and a bit of a review of the goings on here in the Yorkshire Gamer game room over the last month or so. Another month, unfortunately, where I've been extremely busy with work and personal stuff, but there's lots of bits and pieces going on to tell you about, and some new figures painted. Just one thing that's bought this month, which is a bit unusual for me, but lots of other work in progress going on in here as I work towards the Fiasco show in Leeds very shortly. So let's go and have a look at what we've painted. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is the work in progress from the last month's video, and it is yet again another French 28mm infantry battalion for my Battle of Mentana game. More news about that coming very soon, and you've seen these grow over the last couple of months, and there's just one unit left to do now, and they look very similar to the ones that we did last month. And that one had a rear rank with muskets or rifles shouldered and the front rank advancing, and this one they have all the muskets shouldered, and we'll go and have a quick look at some of the detail. So this is the base, the command base, and I've started to kind of like run out of things here to build. I have 3 boxes I bought, but especially with the next battalion you're going to see, I've had to improvise a little bit. Right number of figures, but not enough drummers, not enough officer stuff, so I had to improvise and bring stuff in from other kits. So normally I've had this chap here to the right of the officer has normally carried a Fanion, but I haven't got enough of them, so there we go. I quite like the look of this chap here on the end. I'll just zoom in on him if I can, get a nice little bit of focus. Added a little bit of a blood patch to his bandage. I'm not keen on blooding everything up and you know, especially with casualties and stuff, but I think that's added a nice little touch to that and come out very nicely. Officer, I think that's it. I love that figure, love that pose, and the face has really come out nicely on that chap. We shall go and have a look at the base with the standard bearer and the drummer. Just zoom out a little bit so you can see more of the figures, and I've got a nice little Gallic shrug going on there with the standard bearer. Usual basing method, and then on the back of this one I've got a casualty, and as I've mentioned to you before, I've needed to use at least 1 casualty figure per unit to make sure I've got 24 figures, 6 figures on a base. As well as the main unit, I have done another little 6-figure unit of skirmish base figures, 2 figures per base, and used the casualty figure again on this one. And on here I didn't have enough backpacks, so I filled in the hole in the back and kind of got it so it looks like it's the chap's crumpled down and the rifle's fallen over his back and the kepi fallen in front of him. Really nice. I love the poses on these French that you can get, they really are the business. So there we go, that's this month's painting done. Not a massive amount, but I'm happy that I'm slowly getting through the French units for Mentana. I think just one more to go, a skirmish unit and a bit of cavalry and a couple of command bases, and the French are then completed, and I'll go back and work on the Garibaldi. So let's go and have a look at the Twerking Progress, and for the first bit there definitely won't be any surprises. So here we go with the Twerking Progress, and it is absolutely no surprise whatsoever that it is the final unit of French infantry that I need for Mentana. 24 figures, and we've got the flag there all lined up ready to go. With these guys, I really have had to not scrape the barrel, but I've had to, like there you can just see the indentation where the filler hasn't quite worked on that officer. Just to get enough figures, I've had to use officer figures, infantry figures to use as officers, and then fill the gap in at the back. And then I'm not sure where that pistol arm comes from, and his right arm where the flag is going to be held. I do apologise for this. Where this flag is going to be held has just come out of my bits box. So that unit, as you can see, we'll just get the one of these painted ones out to have a quick look at. 12 of them are done, 6 are in progress, and the rest are, 6 are in progress, 6 are undercoated and ready to go. So there we go. I always like to put my stuff down and work the basing around them. I like to try and set them out, as I say before, in that slightly staggered, so it looks like a bigger unit than it normally would do. So there we go. That's the infantry that I'm working on at the moment. There's a couple of other things, well, quite a lot of other things. So here we go. You may remember in the last monthly update, I mentioned a friend of mine who passed away and left some figures to me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my Mentana game for Fiasco and do a quick fire rendition of Germantown, the AWI Battle. And me and my friend Dave, what we would do is we would do each of us would do one side of an army, and we would go big with it. And the AWI was one that I think it was the first one that we did together as a big project. So I'm dragging my old AWI figures out of the box, and these haven't been out for a while, probably a couple of years I would think. In fact, it was the last game that we played before COVID lockdown. So I'm just going to do a bit of shaky cam for you now. Apologies for that, but we've got one brigade over there, and then another brigade here, another British brigade over there, and some more. Let's get some light on those. They're looking a bit iffy. So that's my British, minus a couple of units that I'm not going to use for Germantown. But I'm just going to spruce these up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is drop the height of some of these flags, because I've never actually had to carry this collection anywhere. So I'm going to need to get these into really useful boxes. The flag poles are a bit too long anyway, to be fair. So I'm going to drop those down, and you see, if you look at this, it's a collection before grass tufts. So that's how old these boys are. And we'll just go over here. And I used on these some silver and gold thread. If you look on some of the bigger flags, there we go. See, that flag's fallen over. On the Queen's Rangers there's like a gold thread, gold tassel hanging down, and I got those from a local haberdashery shop, and I thought it was a really good idea at the time. Probably if I was doing them now, I'd give them a little ink wash. I might do that when I upgrade them, just to make them a little bit more weathered. And looking along here, with that's rather a nice look, isn't it? When I bought these, the GMB Flags, we used to play on a snooker table with a really low light, and a lot of the flags faded, so I had to put them up again. Anyway, so for this project and work in progress, I am going to be sprucing up this British 28mm AWI army to fight my friend Dave's, sadly no longer with us, American army, which we're going to look at now. So I'm struggling to get all the Americans in one shot, and apologies for the cables and stuff lying around everywhere, but I can't get much light on them either. So these are the Americans. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them. going off into the distance there behind that other light up until the hill. And this is the Americans that I need for the Battle of Germantown, which is quite a lot. It's a Washington's attack. It's quite a big American force, and the biggest. I want the biggest I could use as many of Dave's figures as I possibly could. It was very much and still is an army in progress, and if I come and have a look down here at this unit, they were kind of done as more as random bases than units. So as you'll have noticed, there are no flags whatsoever. So I've got in contact with Ian at Flags of War. He does an amazing American War of Independence range, and I'm going to pick some flags up for these from him at the other partisan. So that's the flags sorted out. Each of these are set out in units that I need them for Germantown. So I'm going to do that. Put flags on, and then if you notice here, some of them are in various stages of basing. Dave would do stick the figures down, cover it with sand, paint it dark earth, dry brush it, and then add static grass, as you can see there. So we've got some here. This one hasn't been dry brushed. This one has been dry brushed but hasn't got static grass on. So it's just tidying it all up and then getting it into one uniform army, which I'm going to do over I think I've got 5 weeks until Fiasco. So I'm going to do that. That's one of the main projects, is to get this army tip-top shape. So I just tipped the camera forward because there was a load of loose figures that needed basing, so they're in a work in progress at the moment as well. So we'll just bob down the line and have a little bit more of a look at some of these Americans, because they are extremely nice figures. And just switch the light onto those guys so we can see there. And then I'm going to use the terrain that you can see to work out, to make a best as I can representation of the Battle of Germantown army. And there's all the French over there. So one more thing to have a quick chat about in Twerking Progress, and that's the terrain board. So if you remember, a few months ago I went up to Scotland and picked a load of boards up from a chap called Keith Massey. Hi Keith, if you're watching. And Keith had cut up some of his boards to fit his table after he'd moved house in Scotland. And what I've done is I've got some wood slats and put them on the side of the board, because it was open and the plaster was open. And if you look carefully, you can see a bit of damage down the side of the board and a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in, paint the wood, put the bit of MDF at the bottom there so it's all flat, and then cover it over in the same manner as the boards have been done already, and hopefully that will you won't be able to tell. And then these are 18-inch by 30-inch, and then the big boards are 30-inch. So if you look down there, we've got 1, 2 and an 18-inch board, and that's taking us to just over 6 foot, which I think is perfect for a width of a table. And then I'm going to go 5 boards down, so 5 lots of 30 inches when we come to do the game. So shaky cam again. On the floor there, we've got another couple that are being worked on at the moment. And then down on the floor, we've got some wood slats and some MDF, 6mm MDF, that I am going to use to make some. I need another 2 of the smaller size terrain boards to make a full-size table. So I am going to do that. So the idea is that you put the slats together as a frame, put the MDF underneath, and then you fill the void with foam, and then over the top of the foam goes a modelling compound, bit of tiling grout, and then bit of paint and some static grass, and jobs are good in. So I might do a video on that as I build them. I don't know. If anyone's interested, let me know in the comments. So I'm trying to get them so that they are the same as this. So that is quite a long Twerking Progress, but there's been a big change in focus, shifting away from Mentana to Germantown, and I've only got 5 weeks to do it. So it sounds like an episode of Time Team, doesn't it? Anyway, let's see if we've spent any money this month. Well, not a lot really, because I haven't bought much this month. What you're looking at here is something I bought from eBay, and I'm going to use this for a building called the Villa Santucci, which is probably pronounced nothing like that, but it's on the battlefield of Mentana, and it's a large building on the way up to the town of Mentana, and there's a convent there as well, in between the areas where the Papal and French forces attack and the town itself. So I decided to get this off eBay. It's pre-painted. I'm going to do a little bit more weathering on it, but it's a nice easy place to start really. It comes in different sections as you would expect with an MDF building. Quite like the weathering on the roof. That's really nice. I just think it needs a little bit more, a little bit of inking maybe around the wood areas, just to bring out the detail a little bit more, and then some further weathering and darkening of those brick areas here. Apologies for the wobbly camera, and get some vines growing up the side of it as well, give it a little bit of a lived-in look. And same with the back there. I just think just needs a little bit more wash maybe on the various areas just to bring it out nicely. Well, that's quite a good purchase. The chap I bought this off on eBay, and I do apologise, I can't remember his name, but he does a Roman villa type thing that would be suitable for the convent as well. So I'm quite happy with this as I mean, it do as it is perfectly. I just fancy a little bit more weathering on it, which I'm going to do myself. So as a base, very happy with that. Just one more thing I've bought this month. So the other thing I've bought this month is another board game from GMT Games, Twilight Struggle. It's been out for a while, probably 10 years plus, but there's a deluxe edition of it out now. So I've bought the deluxe edition, and I'm not going to do an unboxing of this other than a quick flip through here. It's a really good game if you've not seen it. It's basically a rerun of the Cold War, and I'll just fold out part of the map for you so you can get an idea. The world's divided up into countries as you would expect, and the East and West vie for influence in each individual country, and then win points when certain scoring cars come up. There's a space race going on at the time. It kind of goes through 48 through to 89, sorry, 45 to 89, and obviously there's a flip side to this where the bottom half or top half, depending on your perspective from space of the world is. So lovely map there. I've not popped the counters yet there. All the counters are there with all the influence markers on, and the thing I like about it is that it has these event cards that you play to move on and change the influence over the world, and it's very similar to the Black Orchestra game that I really enjoy, in that these events are real, or were real, and can be played in different ways at different parts. So Twilight Struggle, as I say, there's lots of unboxings and plays through on the internet, but I really enjoy what this game does and how it works. It's only a 2-player game, so I'll be looking forward to trying to get a game of this in at some stage with somebody, whoever, I don't know. Okay, that's all the money we've spent this month. Time once again for the scores on the doors. And it's been an up and down month. I think the main activity and a couple of big jumps for me has been as a result of the World Cup of Historical Wargames rules. More about that in a second. So, as always, we're up 129 on Facebook to 2,306. Twitter's steady away up 24. A lot of talk about leaving Twitter, trying to get onto this thing called Blue Sky. I tried it and it wanted a code or something, or I'm on a waiting list. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling that there's too much social media, and I'm not going to do anything new unless Twitter falls over. So Instagram, down 3, panic. I need to do some more TikToks or some more dancing in Morris Dancer uniform to get me people back. YouTube's gone over 2,000. Woo! 2,043, up 47. Nice jump there. Podcast steady away as ever. Another 9, 319. Facebook group, big jump there again from the World Cup of Wargames rules. Podcast download, 95,530, which is pretty amazing considering I didn't put a podcast out last month. There's one just out a couple of days ago that I shall talk about very, very shortly. And then Threads up 23. I'm not going to do much on Threads anymore. Like I say, too much social media, too many different platforms. Threads, it's there if Twitter falls, but I'm really not going to do a lot on it as we go along. So that's the scores on the doors. And then, as ever, it's time for the channel shout out and an update on all things Yorkshire Gamer. I've got quite a few things backed up at the moment for review, and managed to get the CeeLo Heights, a Wargames guide by Steve Shan, up on the YouTube channel. It's a full flick through and then detail on one of the scenarios, so pop over to Yorkshire Gamer YouTube if you've not seen that. I've also done a unboxing and review of one of the IBG British World War II destroyer models, that of HMS Hotspur, and full review of what's inside the box, and also some lovely pictures of my finished version of the kit. I finally managed to get one of my 2 recorded podcasts out, and that's one on naval wargaming with David Manley, and we had an absolutely superb chat, me and David, about all aspects of naval wargaming. Why is it so unpopular? All the different aspects of it. Is it too complicated? What do we need to do to bring people in? And the general sort of fun chat that we have on the Yorkshire Gamer podcast. So if you haven't listened, have a go now. The World Cup of Wargames rules came to an end earlier in the month, and the deserved winner was Chain of Command by the Two Fat Lardies, and I'm hoping to have both of them on the podcast towards the end of the year to chat about their World Cup victory and their World Cup loss, because Sharp Practice lost in the final to Chain of Command. 14,111 votes were cast over the 6 weeks of the World Cup that went amazingly well. I didn't think we would get anywhere near that level of engagement. So thanks very much and congratulations to Chain of Command. So I'm going to leave you this month with a view of the British 28mm AWI Army as it parades and gets ready for the Battle of Germantown at Fiasco in a few weeks' time. And so the next episode should come out just before the show. So I'll give you a full update on what's going to happen with the game and what's going to happen with the show. Hopefully as many of you can will be able to make it up to the Royal Armouries at the end of October. And I think it's the 29th. I should have really checked that. I shall double check for next episode. Put some adverts out on the Yorkshire Gamer website as well. And hopefully I will see you there. So thanks once again for spending the time to see what's been going on at Yorkshire Gamer. And hopefully I'll see you again next month. Until next time, Sidi.